Hey Mechwarriors, Jonathan here at Night Knowledge. If you're new to the Mechwarrior series, this video is for you. I see recently a lot of my friends have picked up Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries, but are struggling with it, either dying often or accumulating large repair bills. This is a fantastic game, but it expects you to be familiar with previous iterations, in particular when it comes to customizing your mech. In today's video, I'm going to go over some mech customization basics for the vanilla version so you can jump right in. So the reason why you might be dying often or are accumulating large repair bills is for the reason what is called stock armor. All mechs that you acquire are going to have what is called stock armor, which is a certain amount of armor assigned to your mech. And it is usually not the maximum amount that it can actually possess. So for example, this is a rifleman. A rifleman is a heavy mech with typically a lot of weaponry. As you can see here, we have 2 AC5s, one on each arm, 2 large lasers, and 2 medium lasers. It's a very simple mech, but what we have to look at always is the armor amount. This rifleman has stock armor, so meaning that I haven't touched or modified anything on this mech. So if you look here, we have in the right torso 34 out of 56 total armor points allocated. In the center torso, 52 out of 80. So that means that we are missing about 28 points of armor in the center torso, and we're missing 22 points of armor in the right and left torso each. By maximizing the amount of armor on your mech, it means that you're going to last through your missions, you won't die as often, and you won't have those large repair bills. So I'm going to show you how to do that on our 2 mechs today, the Shadowhawk and the Marauder. Starting off with the Shadowhawk, let's take a quick look. We do this by selecting the details notch, and this is stock. The easiest thing to do to maximize your armor is by removing any jump jets. I personally don't find jump jets very helpful, especially in the vanilla version, so I will remove it. All you do is you right click and it'll remove it. As you can see on a medium mech, jump jets weigh 0.5 tons, so by removing 3, I have 1.5 tons free. What I'll do at this point is I'll simply click the max armor button, and the computer will automatically allocate any free tonnage into armor. And as you can see, our right torso, center torso, and left torso has filled out a little bit, but that's not enough. This Shadowhawk is actually very, very weak. We have very little armor. Actually, let's revert that. We have very little armor, like half the armor in the center torso, right torso, left torso. Even our legs are scary low. You get hit a few times in your leg, and the leg will be gone. Your arms are going to be gone. We are going to do a few things to help this mech. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the jump jets. Each jump jets on a medium mech is going to weigh 0.5 tons, so we're going to clear that up. And what I'll typically do is I'm going to click max armor, and the computer will automatically assign armor to where it best thinks it should go. So we're going to do that, and as you can see, we're back to 55 out of 55 tons. And we have a little bit more armor all over the place. But you know what? That is not good enough, because our right leg and left leg still has very little. Center torso, not that great. And in vanilla, if you lose your center torso, your mech is done. If you're playing single player, you're able to press Y and switch to your other mechs. But if they're all designed the same way, then they'll all be going down rather quickly. So we need to find other ways to clear up some tonnage to apply more armor. My main goal is usually always to have max armor on your arms, legs, all torsos. The only place that maybe doesn't need maximum armor is in your head, because in Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries, unlike PvP oriented games like Mechwarrior Online, the computer isn't always aiming straight for your head, unlike players. So your head doesn't need to be max. But let's do one thing at a time. So let's take a look. We have 2 tons of SRM ammo, and we have 2 SRM2s. Usually a type of SRM that I rarely like using. So let's see what we can do. Let's remove that. let's remove that. And let's remove, by removing the SRMs entirely from your mech, that'll free up 4 tons of armor. And that, let's see what happens. If we do that, that is actually enough to basically give you max armor in the torsos, the head, and almost the arms, but your legs are still at about half armor. So still not ideal. So we're going to keep the AC5s, the LRM 5s, and the medium laser just so that we have some firepower, because I know that you're probably concerned about being able to do enough damage. So let's possibly at this point remove a heatsink, and let's, once again, that clears up 1 ton of 1 ton, and we're going to click on max armor, and that gives your right legs a little bit more. I personally still don't like that, and I would remove 1 more heatsink. And as you can see here, when we clicked max armor, it hasn't used up every single tonnage. There's still 0.07 left, but that's okay. I'd rather have max armor everywhere and like 0.07 or a very little bit of your tonnage not being used. But we will in this video show you how we can play around with that. So first things first, if you're happy with the armament of your mechs, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move my ammo. There are a few schools of thought, but I always move my ammo to my legs, because at least in Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries, I don't feel like the computer really shoots your legs out specifically. If you lose your leg armor, it's because that's just unlucky and it was getting targeted more than other places. But typically the computer just aims for your torso, is not specifically aiming for your arms or your legs in particular. With that being said, some players would prefer to keep their ammo in their torsos because or where their armament is, because if you lose, say, the left torso, we will lose the AC5 and the ammo that goes with it. Personally, once again, I will always keep the ammo there. So at this point, you could just click apply and you're good to go. You've maximized your ammo at the cost of basically some heat sinks and your two SRM2s, which at the end of the day isn't that much, I feel. But maybe you want to maximize every single piece of tonnage that you have. You don't like to have that 0.93 of tonnage and you're gonna have like a little yellow symbol saying, hey, you're under tonnage. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try something. What I'll usually do is I'm gonna remove armor from the head so that it's about 60 to 70% max. So we're now down to 0.68. At this point, I'll look at where I can spare some armor. I can do it from everywhere, but usually I will never touch torsos. I'm either going to touch my arms or my legs. So I'm going to do a little bit from my right leg. 2 points here, 2 points here, 2 points here. Oh, you know what? I didn't need to go that much. Go there. Perfect. As you can see here, we're now at 54.5 tons. At this point, what I usually do is I'll add a half ton of ammo, either my AC5 or LRM. So if I think I'm going to use my AC5 more often, which is typically the case, I will add that half ton. I'll maybe put it here. I can put it here. I can put it here. I can put it anywhere. But once again, I will probably put it there so that, God forbid, I lose my left leg. At least I still have a half ton of AC ammo in my right leg. And that's it. I will click apply, and there we go. We've increased the armor. We have a little bit more ammo for the AC5. Yes, we did lose our 2 SRM2s, but that's not a big deal for me. And there you go. Now, let's look at the Marauder, which is typically a fan favorite. And let's look at it. The Marauder 3R variant, stock armor, is actually not, is half decent. As you can see, the arms have a lot of armor. The torsos have the center torso is basically full. The head is a little weak. That's okay. And the right and left leg is where you're weak. So there's no jump jets on the Marauder, so it's nothing to take off there. We have 1 ton of AC5 ammo, which gives you 80 rounds. Depending on the mission, that might be enough or too much. Who knows? You could always lower that to a half ton of AC5 ammo, giving you 40 rounds, that might not be enough for just an AC5. What we'll do in this case is we'll remove heat sinks. So I imagine for what I'm looking at, we need to remove 2 heat sinks to be able to fill up the legs, which is what is important. So there we go. We've used up the 2 tons, and the head is a little bit stronger. The legs are a little bit stronger, so are the arms. The arms are now maxed. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna remove from the head a little bit, 60%, that's fine. And I'm going to put those points into the legs. 49 out of 64, not super ideal. We can do one more, but we're gonna have leftover. Oh no, we won't. We won't have leftover. Let's see, let's remove a few tons once again, and we could probably max out the legs now. Let's see, 62, 62, 63, 63. So basically now we're removing a couple heat sinks. We're going to be hotter. It's going to take us longer to cool our heat, but our mech now has full armor basically everywhere except for the head. Once again, the head isn't too big of a deal. Once again, I'm going to move my AC5 to my left leg. I could do right leg if I felt like it, and maybe I'll move the other heatsink to center torso if I like. And basically that's it for the Marauder. The only thing I want to talk about now though is you're probably thinking about the front and rear. And I've seen some people actually playing around with the front and rear. So this is how much armor is going to be in the front and how much armor is going to be in the rear of your mech. And you can do that for the torsos basically. It doesn't matter for the arms, legs, or head. So the only advice I have is super easy advice. I just say don't touch it. Don't fiddle around with the front and rear armor loadouts, whether it's stock or modified. I just leave it as is, and I just maximize the way I've done it. If for whatever reason you find you're actually getting hit in the back a lot, you can remove from the front to add to the rear, but I almost never do that. It's just for the fact that if you play properly and you circle strafe your enemy and you pilot your mech properly, then you shouldn't be really showing your back to your opponents and thus showing the weaker part of your mech to them. So that's my video today. I hope it helped you out, and maybe you die less, last longer, and have less repair bills, spending less of your negotiation points on repairs and more on, say, C-bills or salvage. Check out the rest of my channel for other videos on Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries, video games, board games, and other fun things. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.